Welcome to our garden in June.
Someone is busy this morning.
In the poppies that's just out now actually. Isn't it crazy? These ones are actually sown from just seeds that I just sprinkled in early spring, and now they're just all popping up. It's Lawrence grape. Really nice. Looks a little bit like the foliage in the beginning. They are really out here, just sprinkle them around, but looks a little bit like lettuce. But once the flower come, I really like it. So they're here to stay, and I definitely need to collect some seeds of these ones. I think it's really, yeah, a sculpture of nature almost. It's really, really nice. But a lot of things are happening in the garden here in June. All the perennials are just bursting in color, like the poppies I just mentioned, and also the Ehrenpreis here in blue. Look at all the insects. We have so many, different bees, different, like all kinds of insects and butterflies. So many is coming. Oh, another bee is coming in.
Yeah, today is a very still morning. We've had 2 days of really warm weather. I was talking to my parents yesterday and said that we had a heat wave here in Denmark. It was 24 degrees, 24, 25, that's around 77 degrees, I think, Fahrenheit. And they laughed because they're, of course, in 90-something degree heat in South Georgia. But we've had these warm days, and the pollinators are loving it. Very still today.
Very, very still. But the perennials, apparently, they don't mind. I hope we get a little bit of rain. We should have some rain coming next week because it kind of gets a little dry for them, but they are doing well actually. And one of my big favorites here in the garden is coming with this dark foliage here. It doesn't need any staking. See if I can put it over here. Look at this one, the Dow oil here. That is such a pretty one with the yellow and the red middle here, and then just the contrast with the foliage that also gives really a pop of color and gets quite tall. Loves the full sun here in the middle flower bed. And I would say this middle flower bed is around, this is the 3rd season, because we just took the lawn away, and then we added all these perennials. So it's really been doing well on its 3rd season.
And we're very glad to have no grass. Can we just add that out there into
I'm sorry, I don't miss it.
No.
A lawn is pretty, but not much life in that one. And yeah, with the paths around here, we can walk all year round because it's pretty wet in the winter. But okay, back to the flowers. But this one is also really a nice one. One of our clear favorites here in the summer garden is the stouter Salvia cardonna here, and it has black stems. You can see they're almost black here, and this variety of the Salvias gets pretty tall actually, so we do some staking. We actually both have some bamboo sticks. I mainly did that in the beginning, but now we put some metal holders around, so it really gives a kind of a little hug to the perennial. But it does need it because one year we didn't really have it and it kind of fell over. It didn't break, but it's such a shame. So this year we really, it's important to put it on early on in the season before they start to bloom. But this one really attracts a lot of insects and is in full sun here, and together with a bunch of other things.
Yeah, this is a great color combination back here.
We have the Toscamon here, which is really, really nice. We have them in this like light pinkish, and also a more, actually just next to it here, more purple color.
I'm coming, I'm stuck in the Salvia.
But this one is really nice as well. And they kind of just do their own thing. They are really great at self-sowing. And I don't mind that. Even here, I know maybe you would think, ooh, this is way too tall at the border here. But it's still very elegant with its, always reminds me a bit of a Christmas tree, the foliage here when it first pops up. So I know exactly when it comes. I can easily move them around. And the other thing is that the insects really like it. Flowers for a very long time and also loves full sun. So it's really doing well here because this middle flower bed gets a lot of sun actually. And in between also here it actually growing up in between the Toscamon is the spore Balkan. I'll move that away so you can better see it. Really a nice variety as well. A very warm color. Also great at self-sowing. Also great for the insects. And this one, we're actually in the other flower, but we have it in clear white. And every year we have like an exotic, I would say, insect, like a hawk moth.
Yeah, hummingbird hawk moth.
Yes.
We talk about it a lot, and you almost, well, you did see it last week, but we didn't grab the camera in time.
No, it was a tiny one as well, but it always comes in the spore Balkan. Every year it comes from down from Turkey normally. So I'm really happy we have that one because it looks really like a hummingbird, and because they have it in USA, the in-laws they feed them, and they are everywhere, and they are so hard to film. And it always reminds me of USA when I see them in the garden. I'm like, I have a hummingbird too. But okay, back to the flowers. We also have a group here that I really like. I know it's a very, maybe you think like, it's so red, but it's really nice in the garden. Pretty old-fashioned perennial. It's a brændende kærlighed. Really a pop of red. We also have it in pink. You can get it in white as well. Easy to sow from seeds, and also actually doesn't need any staking. The stem are really tough actually. So that's doing well. We also have some that's still, it has been flowering for months on the aquilegifolium here. And you can see over here it's called black stocking. And up here they are not ready yet. These are the seed pods. When they are all brown, I can collect them or sprinkle them in the garden, but they need changing temperatures to germinate, so cold and warm. So you can also sow them in the greenhouse. But look here, they still have it. It looks like a fuzzy flower, and they are really pretty with both the foliage. Reminds me a bit of just the aquilegifolium we have in the garden, but it also gives a pop of color here. We have some. We also actually, maybe you notice, we have some aquilegifolium here they are really pretty as well, just the seed pods, even though they are finished. Here's a tall variety. And they are not mature yet, or ripe yet, the seeds, they are all green. So then they get all black inside, then you can actually harvest them. And they self-sow very easily. Maybe we can open one. Oh, they're actually almost ready here. See, they are black. So once they start to be black or self-open, they just pop around in the garden or collect them, and then you have them everywhere. And the color really changes. So some years you will have maybe a lot of white ones or pink ones. I like all the colors of the aquilegifolium, so they really stand.
And we leave a bunch of them because they're not bad. We even cut them to put in. We don't make bouquets, but when we bring flowers, when we bring flowers in the house, we usually stick, a stem or two of this, just because it's really pretty. Yeah. And we leave a bunch, and then the foliage is really nice. Has a long, tall stem, and then the foliage is nice to cover the ground. We had tulips here and all sorts of things, so this sort of comes in and covers up that space.
But what really amazes me every year, maybe I'm really like a garden nerd, but winter comes, everything is just asleep, dies back. In spring, we cut it back, and it looks like nothing is gonna come. And then all this just came within a few months. I think, looking back at pictures, it amazes me every year that everything just comes up again, like with perennials. They just keep coming, just getting wider. You can divide them, you can collect seeds. Yeah, what's not to like? We have a little bit of delphiniums left here, not so many here. Maybe I'll move the seed pods here. Almost finished, but they will also make some seeds. There's a bit more coming, but some whites. We have a mix of a little bit blue, but they are about to be finished.
And their lilies are just about to come.
They are really
really tall, and
there haven't been any beetles. Some years we have a few beetles that will eat some of the foliage, but this year there's not even one bite, so that is really nice. And what's also stunning next to this, that we have in between the green foliage, like this Blair spirea here, Diabolo it's called. I love black foliage, or just really dark. The stems is all dark, you can cut it more. We leave it actually this kind of height now, around 2 meters I would say, but then we have pruned it a little bit back. And what's great about this one, has different stages, so it comes with this very dark foliage, and then it has, now it's finished over here, but then it has white flowers which is a great contrast to the foliage. And then it gets these berries that's really red. So it has different stages, which is, I think, really nice too in the garden, that you have different things to look at during the season. So this one is really one we love in the middle flower bed here, because, and we also don't want to have it to overtake it, so we kind of keep it maybe this height a little bit lower when we prune it back, but some prune it all the way back and some make it a little bit taller depending on what you need is in the garden.
space that you have, right? Exactly.
Here's another, we kind of, another Stouter Salvia here, so we kind of repeat it in the garden, and it gives such a pop of color now throughout this small path here, so definitely another one here. Again, repeating in general is really good in the garden. Another Ehrenpreis. We have some, if we go around the corner, Escabiosa here. Really, really nice. And what Alan is really great at is at deadheading. That, I have to be honest, I forget. I have other things to do in the garden. So what he does, he really, when you can see they kind of finished here, not looking so pretty anymore. So then he runs it down, right? You run it all the way down.
And I use shears, I don't have
no, you don't have
fingernails.
I do. But then the way to get also in general with a lot of the perennials we have in the garden, then you deadhead. If you keep on just removing the dead flowers, the plant will be thinking, oh, I need to make some more flowers.
Because its goal is to make seed.
Yeah,
eventually.
so, and we want more. Of course we want seeds too, but flowers is of course really nice as well. So this one is also just really tons of new buds coming thanks to Alan, so thank you.
You're welcome. How about that geranium? It's kind of finishing.
Yeah.
It was really pretty just a week ago.
Yeah, now it's really...
The foliage is still something.
Yeah. But look at that's also again really a quite darker foliage, and then this blue-purple color here, really, really nice. But now it's actually also making seeds here. So when they are all brown, you can, now they are not, it's all green, but then they sit in here and you can even collect more geraniums. So that one is a nice one. We have some Allium Millennium coming, which is a very low one. Also over time gets wider. These are sown from seeds 2 years ago. So this clump is actually doing really well. They're just about to come. And this one also, if you want to have insects, bees in general in your garden, run out and get this Millennium, because that is really nice. So here we have Astrantia, really a nice perennials as well. Here we actually put them a little bit mixed, but we have it's almost like a light pink here, and so many varieties you can get it, and this a bit more dark tone here. And I like both the foliage as well when it doesn't flower, and it's so upright, you don't need any staking on this one. Great, you can collect seeds of it, so it's really, like even out here you will see them here. Actually you can see right away this is a self-sown out in the thyme. Oops, so I need to move this to somewhere else because I can see the foliage is like the mother plant. So this is definitely a baby Astrantia, and that I need to move. But a new thing this year, we actually have pots in just on the edge here of the greenhouse. Doesn't get so much sunlight, so mainly shade, but it's actually doing well. I actually also put some things I knew needed more sun, but kind of an experience that we have some dahlias here. They like the sun, but it's still, what it tells me here, it's thriving. It's starting to go in bloom. So it has some flower buds. We have some astilbe. We have also hydrangea here, which is really nice around with some summer flowers here. So we try and do a mix of, and some marigolds, some perennials, and some summer flowers to have a mix. I love also again the foliage to give a pop here. Is the Alunrød here with a different tone with the foliage. We have some thyme here, just like cascades over, which I think is really nice. And another one which is really great for if you need a ground cover is the pleated twitan. Really nice flowers for, I would say, months and months on. Kind of you can prune it back, and then the foliage is also just really pretty, and the insect love them. We have put some that had some digitalis out in the garden. I know it's going to be super tall, but they are here in the pots, like some half shade as well. And we have some brunera that also not only I like again to think about when it's not in flower, is there anything to look at. So we have some Brunera Jack Frost, where the foliage is really nice with these all marbled, or what you would call it, these foliage here. And then again another Alunrod here that has really, really tall flower stems. And again the foliage is such a nice green. So this is in pots as well. The thing is with pots, we mainly have flower beds just where they are living in the ground, because then they can search down where the water is. But I know when we have these pots, it needs more watering. So that's something, and definitely those that's not glazed, these pots, needs a bit more water. But I try to keep back a little bit with the water, so the roots automatically will search more down. And then I always have a drainage under the pots, otherwise they just soak in water. Actually this one I had holes in, not enough. I found out in the spring the pot was way too wet, so that was an indicator that I hadn't put enough drainage holes. So I drilled a bit more and now it's doing better. One thing that we have over here that we really love, both of us, is a new hydrangea with a really dark foliage, and it's called Eclipse. Just added to bloom and we love it. So this one is doing really, really well, together with some wallflowers over here, and some are still becoming. So this corner is really, really doing well. So this one is really, we love Stouter Salvia, but here's the pink variety, and also really dark stem. Also needs staking because it gets the same height as the purple one, but also attracts a lot of insects. And another reason we need to do staking so it doesn't fall over and cover this one is this annual Dusk Salvia, Salvia viridi, pink Sunday, which is coming now, and sown from seeds, also great at self-seeding. It's the flowers are actually right here. We just actually pruned it back so we can so
you can pinch it so it'll be bushier.
So actually the flowers are here, tiny ones, and the insects go in this one as well. But what the stunning part is the bracts up here. They will later on, not very big now, but they will turn pink. They are edible. You can put them on cakes and salads. But this one is really nice because it's flowered for a very long time. Actually the bracts are. But all this is just going to be covered. A few months ago it was just really tiny. I could start seeing the first sets of leaves coming. So this is always, I leave empty for this one because it's such a showstopper, and it will flower, no lie, until all the way to the first frost comes. So that one will be really nice very, very soon. If we go a little bit further down, we also have the blåhat that's still flowering. We also deadhead that one. Native to Denmark, attracts a bunch of bees, and we also have been, Alan has been really good at deadheading, but it's kind of slowing down now, so I told him,
we'll keep an eye. Well, we still have a bunch more coming. You can see every time I've cut it, I've deadheaded, then it branches out, and there's some new ones. So it's coming. But yeah, I definitely keep an eye, and that's a great question, or not a great question. It's a great time to say I stopped deadheading when I stopped seeing the new flowers. Yeah,
because then I also want some seeds of it. So, and here we have, let's see, here one was the...
Oh, that one's a good
this one here. And it's actually, can you see it? It's actually called copper apricot. So it's a snapdragon. Look at this one. I got it actually from like a plug plant from a small Danish company. So it was teeny tiny, and I just nursed it a little bit in the greenhouse until it was bigger. And now it's coming in bloom, so that one has been excited for.
These snapdragons are so
really
oh, I'm quite
showing
close.
Off.
Aren't they though?
And these ones were actually sown last spring. I also sprinkled some, but I sown these last spring. Then they flowered. I cut them down a little bit, collected seeds just in case, because you never know with snapdragons if they come. But because we have more and more mild winters, so they actually came back, even though it's like a summer flower, like annual, but they already, putting seeds there. But I'll try and prune it back, and normally it would last like around 2 years, and then they kind of sometimes die, depending on the winter again. But I think it's such a stunning one.
And interesting, in Danish it's called lion's mouth, right?
Yeah, løvemund.
And you can see, let's look at one. Yeah, maybe we can show that one.
I'll do it like this one here.
Yeah, looks like a lion's mouth. Or snapdragon. I guess snapdragon because it looks like a dragon.
Yeah. But my grandmother, who's 92, who was here yesterday, actually said they call it something else. They call it that it's like a lady and a man sitting in a carrot. Do you call it like? But they sit in there.
Carrot or a carriage?
Carriage, yeah.
Okay, so a lady and a man. What do they call it in Danish?
Jamen herre og fru I karet. I mean, okay. I'm pretty sure, but they are in yeah.
So lady and a man in a carriage. I don't really see it.
No, it's like those. It's the top up there. Maybe there's nothing there. Like the kind of like people sitting up there.
Well, I won't argue with you.
You need some imagination. So here we actually have like more of a pinkish white brændende kærlighed, which is about to be finished. But that's like a smaller clump there next to the, here you can see the other red
bright
one.
red one, yeah.
So that's really nice. And then in the back we have really this year super, super tall white Delphiniums here, which are doing really well. In the mix, like this is a nice combination over here with some brændende kærlighed, and we have some of the same in the middle flower bed. We had the pink sporvalerian, but then in front here we have, look at this, kind of a showstopper, and also in sunlight the white one looks like clouds of the sporvalerian. Also I staked it early on because it has a tendency to open up in the middle and look a bit bare, which is not really nice, but it's doing really well. And in front, very like a petite little group here, doesn't grow so fast, but it's the Phlumus in a pink one. It's about to be finished, but compared to its brother or uncle, the yellow Phlumus, this one is not growing so fast as the yellow one we will show you further down here.
And I don't think you can hear it with our microphones, but this is a very noisy section. Are you holding your microphone?
I'm like,
that's
trying to find
the pollinators are going crazy in this guy. And the foxgloves are coming in the back.
So here we have krybende tæppepileurt, fancy name. But it kind of creeps, and over time we'll just cover this whole section here and the path. Really great as a border plant. And it's also, as you can see down here, it starts white and then it turns more into the pinkish color and even more dark here, and that's how it kind of finishes. So it has a different, just like the Blair spirea, different stages in its life, which is really, really great. And some more geraniums. The thing with geranium, we always, Alan and I, we talk a lot about, we have to be a bit careful with some of the geraniums because some of them kind of take over some of the other plants. So we do have to really like kind of cut it back during the season so the flux here gets, we really don't want to cover that up. And actually in the back I also have one that I can see actually maybe in autumn needs to move a little bit because it's so pretty. It's a white astilbe over there. Kind of doesn't get to its right there behind the flux. And other things with some of the perennials we do have here, I'm not afraid of like moving it around in autumn when it's really nice and easy to move your perennials. Then I just take my spade or my shovel or what I have, and then I move it or divide it so it gets, because some years it just, some of them get a bit taller and then you kind of move them a little bit around. And here we also have like
2 seconds. Oh. Because we've been seeing it in the back.
Oh, the
sea holly. Yeah, look at that.
Sea holly, what a name.
And it's all in the back there.
Yeah, we actually have to, also that one needs to get a little bit better spot or move it a little bit out, because over time it will have, my goal is that it covers this whole group here. And even though it's super, super spiky, you will see a lot of...
Yeah, it's crazy.
At work, actually, at the cemetery, we have a big group of like 2 times 2 meters, just full of that with one flower bed. And the bees, they just go crazy, and you would think it's so prickly, but there's so much life in that sea holly, so it's really, really nice. Here we have a low variety of, again, the Salvia. It's called Ostfriesland, so if you're looking for one close to the border, really compact, doesn't need any staking, then this Ostfriesland is the Salvia to go to, and it's really nice. And what we do when they finish flowering, you can also lure them into having a second flowering, which is not as rich as the first one, but then we actually just run down. Here there's one actually almost about to be finished, but then we have this one here, And then we just run it down the flower stem to the end, and then we just, yeah, kind of snip it off. And then it will produce side shoots and make even more flowers. But wait to do it until it's kind of looking finished, and then you will have a second flowering, which is really nice because it gives a lot of color right now here in June. And more some poppies that's really visited by the bees here.
More columbines.
And some more
that are finished.
Another great one which is a border plant here if you have full sun and can be in very poor soil is the creeping thyme here. Gets around 5 to 10 centimeters tall, just like a carpet, and over time it will just spread. My goal is a little bit over the path here, and the insects really, really like that one as well.
It's also a really fun time of year. Things are really going to seed.
Oh yeah, and these ones, the Allium, we actually just leave because, whoa, I got stuck in the Salvia. These ones are really pretty, also just with the seed pods actually. But so many things are just coming, some has finished, and then great that something is just taking over.
Something that is coming, my favorite.
Oh yeah, which is, we just talked about, it's a little bit too close to this other Salvia here, but the blanket flower here, the cocarde, it's pretty, look at that. Has like yellow and deep red in the middle, and it's just coming. I think there's like 50 flower buds here. And this one also, the same like the Salvia viridi, this one will flower until the frost comes, but deadheading. So that's Alan's job to do that with this one. Then it will keep flower. It's sometimes a very short-lived perennials. We have some of them coming back and some of them don't. We had a peach color. Sadly, it didn't come, and I collected seeds, but this one is really, really, really nice. One over in the back, maybe you can see it if I stretch. We have one here past the bascum here, but we have a fredløs here that like a spotted one. Look at that one.
Let me come into the flowers.
That is pretty. Look at that one there. So the foliage is also really stunning. We have different fredløs further down with dark foliage, one with a long tail. So it's not only with this yellow, you can get it in different varieties as well, which is really nice.
And here, I think we showed this last week actually. Here's an example of this blowhat in Danish that we don't deadhead, and you see there are just no more flowers because it's all going to seed.
Don't do that now.
And there's one coming. But when you don't deadhead, it really has a much shorter lifespan because its goal is to go to seed.
Yeah. Another flower that when we had family over yesterday, and my grandmother really likes that. I still have this one because it's seeds from her, but it's Sweet Williams, Studenternilke, which is such a very known as a grandmother flower, a very old perennial, short-lived, but what I do, I cut down after flower, I prune it back, and then they will actually come again the following year, but I always, and here this one, I like that combination. With the white and the really purple in there. So I cut it back and then they come again, but that one I always need to take seeds off because it's nice.
There's my other blanket flower.
Oh, here's another one, yeah, I'll move away. But here's more, like actually a different tone, so more, it goes from more red out and then only the tips are yellow compared to the other one where it's mainly yellow. But this one is really nice too, very compact and just having a lot of flowers. And another one that I staked is the Salvia here in white. Look at that one.
And here's an example of, for example, this columbine we've cut down. So you can see it's empty. Oh, yeah. So then I just left the foliage to kind of take care of any empty spots. And then as the season goes and as the foliage starts to crowd other things, I'll just keep cutting it back. But that's what it looks like when you just cut down the tall stems, for example.
And I forgot to say, this is called snehugel. The name, but really nice as well and gives a nice color.
Someone asked the other day if we had, or maybe they mentioned that their garden already has rose campion, and at that point ours didn't, but now it does. Look at that.
That is so nice. And this one also really important to deadhead because then it will just keep on producing new flowers. And it's really nice next to the løvefod here that also has nice foliage before it flowers. Great as a border plant here. And then also the lime yellow flowers are really, really nice. We have some rølleke coming in. We're kind of discussing because it really spreads and it's gone really. My intention wasn't to have it this tall, but I think it's because it is quite rich, the soil here, and it likes very poor sandy. It's native to Denmark as well, so it got really tall, so we'll see if it needs to have a different spot.
I think it will need a different spot. Yeah. Let's not pretend like we're going to think about it, because look what it's hiding.
Yeah.
Those lilies are being hid. So, and the astrantia, so this guy's...
Yeah, we will find a new spot for it. Another thing that's great for the insects here is Salvia in this really warm purple color here. Very, very nice. And right after, behind that one that I mentioned early on, the Fredløs, this one will almost about to pop with yellow, but with the black foliage or dark foliage, it's called firecracker. Really, really nice. And kind of just all this section is nice too. We have some blue delphiniums there, and all the way in the back we have some digitalis, really tall ones. Some of them are finished, some of them are still going on, doing really well. We have some that I mentioned down there with the, as well here. We have the pink phlumus, we have the yellow one in these tiers. Really nice if you have a bunch of weeds you want to cover. Then this one is really a keeper. And these ones, we do not cut down the seed pods because they are really upright and very decorative during the winter time. So this one we definitely leave. The seeds of those, the phlumus needs cold stratification, so changing temperatures, warm and cold. So those will self-sow, or otherwise I pop some in the greenhouse and then they will germinate when it's warmer. So look at this one. This is the other snapdragon I wanted to show you, like a mix here. Look at that nice color. Almost looks like fire. And there's also one that's a little bit darker over here. Need to move this. This is a perennial grass that will be pretty late on. But look at that one there. Can you see it? That is nice.
Yeah, it's a very nice time of year to have that color.
See, here's also a great example of like one that I didn't, it's self-sowed here. I left it, but it's still kind of, it's super tall, and you would think, ooh, I would have moved that months ago. But it's there to stay. I think it's very, very pretty right here.
And we don't mind the different heights.
No.
We're not laying down on the stones expecting things to be low, middle, high, like every blog post you read.
Yeah.
We like it. I mean, the seed wanted to be there.
Yeah.
It can stay.
We actually moved, I was curious to see if we moved a very old lavender up from the terrace because we were rebuilding that last year, but it's actually doing pretty well here in the corner. It's really around close to the path, so it's really nice to have a little scent here.
It survived, yeah. So we're happy.
So
our expectation for it was pretty low.
Right. Here we have another section of that also came back that I sown from seeds, but snapdragons in this clear white together with a really nice combination as well. So if we don't only have one solid color, it kind of gives a contrast with the pink there as well. Okay, so here we actually have some, I always have my seed glasses on, but here we have Toadflax that's finished, a plant that's native to Denmark. Bunch of seeds coming, and those I can either sow in the ground directly or have them in pots in the greenhouse, and then I can get lots more. There's actually, it's this one here, it's not finished yet, but has these, almost looks like a little windmill. Really pretty.
Yeah, beautiful
flower.
Little pink flowers, yeah.
So
there are quite a few things already now. I don't think you can hear them shake.
Maybe here. Ooh. Yeah, wait a second. Can I?
I'll put it up to your microphone.
I don't think I can. No, you can hear it if you.
Come to the garden. We'll shake it for you.
Oh wow! But there's a bunch here. But you can actually see them kind of opening up there, and that's just full of seeds. So it's very important when you collect the seeds. Now it's great weather, but if you had a week of just pure rain, then take these in and add them on a table with some newspaper or whatever, and make sure to let it dry before you add them in. I collect mine and then save in coffee filters with a name tag on, or whatever. You have plastic, I wouldn't recommend, because if it's not really dry, nothing worse than you find the next spring rotten seeds, which is a shame. So, yeah. So collect them when they are dry and ripe.
Speaking of dry,
yeah,
we don't have to water these today, do we? Our dahlias, look at that. They're growing, they've grown up through the netting. as they were supposed to. Maybe already this week, Lars, we need to put that second layer of netting on, you know?
Yes, because last year we just had one on, but believe it or not, some of these dahlias will get, later on in the season you can't even see me because they are this tall. So they have really worked well. We've had some people that have seen how I put netting on, worried about will it not break the dahlias, but they are 10 times 10 centimeters, the netting here, and then they just kind of grow up through it. The same this year, we added verbena in it to have this really tall purple color, but we'll put another netting on. I just bought a roll, and then we'll put it out here, and then they just grow in between, and it will really be a nice way of staking your dahlias without having bamboo sticks. And the great thing about them, it's metal. So all I do, I take them up and then I reuse the exact same size, everything. Doesn't take up much space in the shed. So that is really nice, and they love the full sun here.
And it's hard to imagine, but on such a still, and it's very warm today. You know,
wow, and you're from the south, you should be
yeah,
like,
but I haven't lived in the south for a long time, so it's warm. But usually it's quite windy.
Yeah, that's
if you have seen some of our videos before, you'll know that usually everything is blowing and it's hard to get a picture. But so it's good to have that extra layer of protection for the dahlias.
Just finished talking about the dahlias, which are almost going in bloom, but the Delphinium,
which are almost finished.
Almost finished, but they still keep on going. We have our lupins here, also almost finished.
And here's the thing that we've really experimented with this year. Typically, we haven't paid attention to deadheading them in the way that we have this year. Yeah. So we have cut them off about, well, now we don't have any because I've already done it, but usually when they're about halfway.
You can see it here almost, like here there's one that's cut here, and then it.
Yeah, but I wanted to show, maybe I can show here on this white. Have I taken all, no, I've taken all them down. Well, we're just too good at our job, Stars. But my meaning is when it's about halfway going in seed up the flower, let's say this was going to seed, I would go ahead and cut it and sacrifice those flowers. And in doing so, we've had, this is probably its 4th flowering.
So you can see one you forgot actually a little bit. Maybe you didn't forget, I'll take it.
Okay, so that's a great example.
But you can see here now, that is actually, we kept this too long. Yeah. But once they start being just withered off, and even though there's a little tip left, cut it, because then you will get, then it will produce so many more.
Yeah, so I sacrificed those top flowers so we can have more. And once I stop seeing these, once I stop seeing the new buds coming, then I would leave them on the ones that Lars would like to collect seeds for. Because we're very careful with our seeds, especially with lupins. We don't want them thrown all over the world and the country. So we try to be a little careful with those and only collect what we need.
Did you literally just had your hand up because you wanted to say something?
Oh, did I?
Yeah, you did like this. It's not high
I've been a teacher for too long.
Okay. But one that's on the corner here that's really also, looks like a little lady to me. It's very, very sweet. Native to Denmark, but blæresmelle. So you'll see it, some people will say, that's a weed, it's out in everywhere. But it's really, really pretty. Also people use it in bouquets. It's quite tall here, but it's because we also did some compost and some chicken manure in pellet forms. So normally it would be much lower because it likes sandy, very poor soil. But here it's really like, phew, so we had to stake it, otherwise you couldn't even go around here in the greenhouse. So, but that one is doing really well.
Here's another really nice example of the creeping thyme.
It's really nice. You just want to put your head on it. It's like a little pillow. Really does well. It was a little clump last year, so it's amazing how over last end season it did, and just now loves the full sun here in between the stones. And what's really nice next to it here is also with the dark foliage here is fingerbølrørblomst. Very, not such a known one here in Denmark. A lot of people have just started to find it, but I think it's very pretty. And compared to the, in its family, the digitalis, it's like a perennial, so it'll come
It's
back.
in the same family as a penstemon.
Yes, yeah.
I'm so bad at pronouncing that. Yeah. And I think the common English name is foxglove beard tongue.
Yes.
Is that right? It has a really weird name. Special name in Danish too. Either way, I'll be sure to write the Latin name on the screen, and the English common name in the description.
Yeah. Try and say that 10 times. Fingerbøl rørblomst. You can't even say that.
No, this isn't Danish class. This is a Duolingo.
No, but it's still funny though, because your English name is so funny too.
Foxglove beard tongue.
Yeah.
Who comes up with these?
Look at this one. This is actually a new perennial in the garden. It's called kæmpeskældhoved, and it's like taller than me. It's over 2 meters tall. We don't have to have any staking in it, but since it's so tall, so we put it next to the fence over here in the back. And we're actually gonna, because it's great at self-sowing, so I will actually have a bit further more here, some more plants of it, because it's doing so well, and the insects really like it, and it's such a tall, towering perennial.
It'll be nice back here in the back, yeah, and for all those pollinators that like to fly high.
It's amazing. Look at that.
It has a bit of a sunflower look to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard to film with.
I'll hold it. Looks a little bit like this scabiosa.
Yeah, like scabiosa and a sunflower got together, right?
Yeah.
It's really pretty. While I'm back here, I'll just film some behind the scenes. We have foxgloves being completely hidden by the hydrangea, but that's because they chose to live there. We have this rose campion, also hiding, but enjoy its life.
White lupins.
Some lupins.
Yeah.
What I really wanted to show you
the hydrangea.
If I can even get there.
Yeah, not much space.
Squeeze with me, everybody. We have our hydrangea. It's coming. It has survived the winter. I'm very thankful for that, because this we don't buy much for the garden, as you've noticed, but this we did. So we're very glad that he's living. No, but what I wanted to show you was the garden from this. Wow, so many foxgloves back here, Lars. Let's see if I can show. Whoop. But I wanted to show the garden from this view. Look, now you can really see those burning loves. Isn't that pretty? We're very blessed with all this growing.
And look at maybe show over here, maybe it's against the sun, but we have some Vegins and Pries. They will be very tall. In pink, they're gonna come here. Really pretty as well.
I wish
you
could
just hear the sounds.
I know, that's what I was just saying. It's so loud over here.
So I just want to show you here at work our new perennial bed, that it's quite big. It's around 180 square meters, almost as big as our garden at home, but it's really starting to be very nice established here. We have all these paths and natural less stump here, and some big stones, both for people but also for, like, for example, butterflies to sit on, but all these stepping stones. And then we have these the creeping thyme that's really starting. So the goal is that it will just go out on the stepping stones here and around and cover all this. And then by time, I know there's a little bit soil here some places, but because the perennials, they do need to be established before they kind of will spread. But the goal is then over time, it'll really be all closed off, so we don't have any weeds to remove here. But it has really transformed a lot from when it first, like, kind of overgrown flower bed we had here, a bit neglected. So now it's really doing so much better already. Another area I want to show you of flower beds area where we removed the lawn, because we kind of have a lot of lawn at work here. But here we last year, just one season, this has been, actually this is the second season, but we created it last early spring. But this one, the kind of formed flower beds, we have smaller shaped ones, and then that really curved ones that go in between, so people can go in here. And we will have, over time here, we'll also have a bench, different areas, so people can enjoy the different heights. But also here, just like at home, we have a bunch of different, really close compacted perennials in different colors, but again repeated. We have some tall ones that is repeated here in the flower bed. When we don't have to see so much soil, that means also there's not so much weeds that we have to do. So what we work on here is also having the edges, since it's near the grass here, that we cut the edges regularly, so you have that really nice shape all the time, and it's easily cut with the lawnmower. So one of actually also not so known in our garden is the kæmpeskældhoved that I actually got after we got it here at work. But it's just starting in flower. It's really, really big, tall up here, and has these yellow flowers, but even the flower buds are really pretty as well. Very, very tall, doesn't need any staking once it's established, likes the full sun. We're actually going to move some of them because it's quite, we have planted them in very nice, what we do here, we uneven numbers, like 3 to 5 in a group, gives a really nice combination. But again, repeat it out, but this one could be a little bit less because it's perennials are so different. Some of them are getting really tall and some of them just really spreads really quickly.
Yeah, here we can really see that there were 3 planted at the bottom. Let me see if I can get here to the base. So you can see there's 1, 2. So perhaps just 1 would have been enough.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, when these things are in flower, the bees go crazy for them.
That's another thing they really love. The insects love them. And what another thing is to notice about these ones, some of them, of course, we bought from a local planting store, but also some of them, because we have so many established that's old up there, then we're actually in early spring and autumn, we also a lot of, for example, this Flumus here, we just divided. We have a bunch. That's also a great way to save money, is like dividing your perennials, or take from seeds and then adding them in the areas, because otherwise we would be poor if we had to buy all of these from scratch from the beginning. And then of course also these ones, some of the perennials we have here, like they spread a lot. Like we have a geranium roseanne that can quickly take over if you're not careful, or this pleated Twitan here that really, it flowers for months on and great for the insects, but you have to, it's kind of grown a lot, it has these runners out. So this one during the season we have to get prune back, because otherwise it will really quickly take over this entire thing here. So what we also worked on in these flower beds, of course, that things repeat, but also that you have flowering throughout the whole season. We have early in the spring some Kodriver, like Primula, yellow one that's also native to Denmark, that has yellow flowers early in the spring. Now you can only see the foliage actually. But then later on things take over, like the pleated Twitan, then Roseanne comes, and also the Cadwood here, which is really great for the bees, comes. Then we have some lupins, some low delphiniums, and then also later on that will come is the sølvlys, that the foliage again, really, really important, having dark foliage that gives a pop of color. And we have some drejeblomst that come, and also the red brændende kærlighed here, and astrantia here. So there's a bunch of things coming. And also again, add some purple with yellows, these combination plants that really work really well. So look at color, flowering time, and also height is really important, and foliage, because then you get a different variety and something to look at in the whole season.
So there you go. Thank you guys for joining us on our garden tour here in June, and for a quick look at all of the, my goodness, so many beautiful things flowering here at the cemetery garden where Lars works.
So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you got some inspiration, maybe some plants you don't have at home. So thank you so much. Moin!